Are you paying attention to our economy? There's a publication out there called activistpost.com. They wrote an article this week asking that question. There's been a lot of giveaways. There's been a lot of bailouts. I think there will be more. But the question becomes, who's paying for all of this? The obvious answer is our government. The next question becomes why? And the answer to that question? Politics. Where is this going to lead to? Are we going to go bankrupt? We're going deeper into debt. And the answer is no, not as long as they have the power to print money and or distribute credits. The distributing of credits is a new issue, and this whole idea that they can just print money and keep handing it out is a new mindset. It's not fiscal responsibility. It's not being careful about the future. It's not encouraging personal responsibility. It's just, you have a need, we'll pour it out, and you'll reelect us. And in 10, 20 years, we'll be off the scene, we'll have our pension, you'll have your debt, and you guys can do what you want. But how much can they spend before we are completely upside down financially? Have you looked at the debt clock lately? We are currently $28 trillion in debt and climbing. I can't picture a trillion, can you? It's 28,000. Economists are saying that happened in just the last few years or so. Government records show it has been happening for at least the last 3 or 4 presidential terms. That's 30 years or so. And have you seen the current price of gasoline? Or just about anything for that matter. Price spikes in commodities include copper, grains, gasoline, and lumber tell the story, as do the raging bull markets in equities and housing. Gasoline is going to go higher. This president has shut down the Alaskan pipeline, is shifting to the ever-popular environmentalists' mantra. We're watching rapidly rising prices across an array of asset classes, which is a symptom of excess currency creation. We just keep printing money. Of course, we're not printing as much actual cash as we used to. We are giving credits. They're called digital dollars. You got a credit card? When was the last time you pulled out $20 and gave that to somebody at a store? As economist Milton Friedman famously noted, quote, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon in the sense that it is and can be produced only by a more rapid increase in the quantity of money than in output, meaning serious economic malfeasance. By whom? The government. Friedman wasn't a gold standard or hard money proponent. Instead, he hoped to persuade monetary authorities to act responsibly. But given the reckless policies undertaken recently by central bankers at the Fed, things like 0% interest rates, quantitative easing to infinity, and symmetric, meaning above 2% inflation targeting, Friedman's hope sadly misplaced. Symmetric inflation is an inflation rate maintained by governments. It's not something they're watching. They're doing it. They're doing it to keep money flowing and prices increasing. Why would they do that? It's called politics. You don't have to have a good reason. You just have to get elected. Buffett, chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, warned his company's shareholders at a meeting last weekend, "We are seeing very substantial inflation." Home buyers are feeling it. Home sellers are rejoicing in it. Lumber prices are at an all-time record high after months of relentless rises, helping push home building costs higher by double digits. Gasoline is up more than $1 over that of a year ago. The consumer price index surged 0.6% just in March. That's the biggest monthly increase in almost 10 years. The CPI is an imperfect measure of inflation because it tends to underestimate or understate real world cost increases. There is reputable information indicating some of this is artificial, not real. According to the Fed, the economy is merely returning to normal. As it does, inflation will moderate toward Chairman Jerome Powell's target of about 2% a year, right? You do know the Fed is pouring money into another emergency stimulus package, right? There's no let up. There's no end in sight, given our current government leadership. The Treasury Department recently reported it expects to borrow $463 billion in the next 3 months, spiking the federal deficit to an astounding $2.3 trillion for the full budget year. Why? Because of COVID. COVID, a manufactured emergency. Oh, no. How old are you? When was the last time you saw any government shutting down the nation over a disease? I'm 78 years old. I ain't never seen it. Why do they do it? Ask them. They'll tell you that it was all about you. We're here to protect our people. Since when? This is the first time in history this sort of thing has happened. Cities have shut down. But never has the federal government shut down cities and businesses. It's a whole new paradigm. One they will use again. Mark my word. We get a new strain of virus just about every year. Government handouts are impacting business. They can't hire people who are getting free money from the government. Businesses are struggling to find workers, especially restaurants and retail industries, the traditionally lower paying jobs, but very essential. Economists predict a 1970s style wage price spiral. You don't remember that, do you? Wage earners and retirees stand to lose, not counting the investors. The Fed is bent on keeping interest rates low. Another negative impact on savings and such. Gold and silver are about the only holdings that are going to increase, and that's because they can't control it. It's anyone's guess just how low the dollar will plunge. It's about worth 2 cents today. Yeah, 2 cents. The American dollar has lost 99% of its worth since 1930. A 2-year-old midline Chevrolet cost $1,000 in 1962. I know that because I bought it. I paid $60 a month for 2 years. That same car today, not the '60s Chevy, but a 2-year-old midline Chevy, would be over $15,000. I know the car's a whole lot better than my '61, but it ain't 15 times more so. And that is going to spike upward. And all it means is that the dollar is going downward. Look for your Social Security to increase. They're going to take more out of your paycheck. Housing costs? My type home, the one I live in, costs today twice what I paid for it 6 or 7 years ago. Twice. That's good for me. I plan to sell it by the end of the year, God willing. But the money that I make off that sale is not worth the paper it's written on, which is another reason we're going digital. Who knew? The Bible knew over 2,000 years ago. How's that?